right. Good afternoon, family. I know we normally meet at 2 o'clock, but because of traffic, the traffic guides and the people who are coming from church worshiping God, we're a little bit late because we can't rush, and we're not going to rush our elders because when it's they're important, and we're not going to rush them. This is Elliott McCants, your host of Black Watch. There was a young man that we haven't been able to catch up with each other, and I hope he's around. And you said something the last time I was on the air with Sister Audrey about doing some tutoring. And what I'm going to do is just what you said, because that was inspirational from uh, from you to have me to do so. So I'm actually going to work on doing that. So I want to thank you for the inspiration, and I'm working on a site with my nephew, and we're going to make that happen. So I appreciate that, and I think his name was Mr. Christopher Callis or something like that. So it's been a minute. Um, so we're going to make that happen, and I appreciate it. I'm working on that site right now with my nephew, so it's going to have various subjects that I'll be able to assist people with tutoring wise, but it's also going to be an informational tutoring site. So as soon as I get everything all lined up, I'll make sure that you all know, and we'll post that as well. So today, we're also going to go back to ancient Kemet, because that was one of the highest levels of civilizations that we created. And the reason why we know that it's important is because every other culture or every other group of people, let me put it that way, I'm not sure if they're culture or not, every other group of people copied it. Two groups of people that we know copied it were the Greeks and the Romans, who copied what the Greeks had. So their so-called civilizations are very, very close because one emulated the other. So the Greeks came in Africa, of course, first, and then after they learned the little bit that they could learn, then the Romans, who were near the Greeks, copied what they could from the Greeks. So you had the Romans and the Greeks. The Romans really didn't go in until much, much later, but the Greeks came in and learned what they could. Remember, before we were talking about numbers, right? 3, 30, 33. We're talking about those numbers being significant, even if we look at so-called Christianity. We look at that, we see that those numbers are important because uh, Jesus the Christ was supposedly he started his ministry at the age of 30, and he was supposedly crucified at the age of 33. So all in the queue. Okay. Well, yes, we appreciate you being here and showing up to let everybody else know we're here too. Okay. So now back to education. And then we're going to move forward again with our presentation. In education, we have to be very clear that is about indoctrination. It is only about indoctrination. True education comes outside of the walls of the institution. It has to, because certain truths are never going to be taught inside those walls. Many times it's about, this is a set of curriculum that comes from the city, the institution, the state, or national, and these are things that people want to be known. Most of those are garnered and want to be known by either businessmen or politicians, because they have an agenda. The issue is 99% of the time for us as Africans in Americas, we don't have an agenda. We don't have an agenda. So if we had an agenda, and we don't need to recreate one, because there are many people that came before us without all of these distractions, without all of this insanity that we're dealing with now, that had agendas and laid out agendas before we did. So to sit there and recreate the wheel is not even necessary. There are others that talked about agendas. There's others that put agendas out. There's others that put information out there. So part of our additional website for tutoring is going to have that information available so that people can learn from it as well, because we need to know and we don't. But family, if you have children, if you have other people around you, there's this moving trend that we don't want to teach certain histories because we don't want people to feel bad, but yet history is being erased all the time. It's being removed. It's being set to the point where you don't even want to think about teaching it, because that's a reflection of what happens in school, and it'll probably be frowned upon because you don't want to teach that in conjunction with what's being taught in the schools that in which they call curriculum. Sorry, let me slow down because I'm kind of passionate about this. So some of the things that need to be taught, number one, we're going to go back to our books, right? This is Destruction of Black Civilization by Dr. Chancellor Williams. And he shows how in ancient times, people brought down great civilizations because they had another agenda, right? And we just saw that in this past election. People had another agenda, so they voted for their agenda. And then what we see is they getting kicked in the butt because the person that they thought is going to uphold their agenda is not. Somebody else is not going to concede power. It's not going to happen. That's really kind of how things are run in this country. If you have the dollars and the cents, they're going to make sure that their agenda is put out there first and foremost. Even if we look locally, I'm not clear the reason why. What I just saw that post, it was 9 hours and nothing happened. You got to make that make sense. And we got a city of less than 100,000 people, and you got 9 different districts here. And you mean to tell me you all had to sit up there 9 hours in order to make something happen that never happened? That's insanity. You have that book, excellent. Make sure let me see what page and chapter. Well, actually, all of it. It's so good. I'm glad you got it, B. Marie. Read it, study it, disseminate it to your family and friends. People are not going to like you for it. That's because they're not where you are. So make sure you disseminate the information that you get out of it. There's another book that I don't have it with me called The Ruins of Empires by C.F. Volney. If you got this book, make sure you get that book. And make sure you read page 133 to 136, where he talks about how the wickedness of the priest class, because of greed, the people finally wake up and remove them out of being in power because of greed. So we're dealing with the same stuff here. This greed is not good. We get it. That was in Wall Street. That came out back in the 80s. But greed is not good, because what greed does is destroy people. And we're not trying to do that. Now, is everybody going to get on the good ship? I don't think so. But, those that want to and those that desire to should be there. Okay. Remember, the name of the other book, and I don't have it with me, called Ruins of Empires. It's by C.F. Volney. Another book that I'm going to mention real quick is The ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And Uncle Mick and I have been talking about this book quite a bit. And we're going to get into a real deep dive, not today, but we're going to get into a real deep dive of this book, very, very soon, so that we can understand the reason, what some of the things that we are ignorant of. And not that we're ignorant people, we just don't know. Or we've been blinded by what we think are come ups, and those come ups are not really come ups for us. What they done is they cost us more than what they bought us. Integration was one of them. Integration cost us way more than what we got out of the situation that was brought back to us in the 60s. So because there was one time there was a school called Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School that had the highest scores in the country, and it was a small black school. I don't recall exactly where it's at, where it is, and it's closed now. I've heard people say um, that it's in Oklahoma. Might have been in Oklahoma, but this school had the highest scores in the country. And with integration and desegregation, of course, now the school is closed. Okay. Well, then if you got those two books, then I'm gonna really suggest you try and find this book. But this is Blueprint Blueprint for Black Power by Dr. Amos Wilson. Dr. Wilson was a child psychologist, but he also delved into some other um, areas, because if we're going to make sure that our children are going to be fine, we have to be fine as well. So he has also a plan in here for an African centered school, or plan an African centered school should follow, or even if you have small spaces and places where you meet at and meet with people, or even with your own family. First and foremost, start with your family, and then start to get them to understand their own culture, real culture, not just other stuff that we get stuck into because we like shiny things. Because that's really what it's about. You know, social media and the media period has put it into our face that we're supposed to have these shiny things, we're supposed to be this and that and the other, and we're missing a point and we're missing a boat, because as we're distracted, we're trying to go and get on the grind and get the bag and this and that and other, we lose a part of ourselves. Because if you, and I think Bernie Mac said this, the late great Bernie Mac, he said, if you do what you love and love what you do, the money's gonna come. He said it one more time. If you do what you love and love what you do, the money will come. So he never chased fame. He just chased his dream. Now we have to be careful of some dreams, and I'm not gonna get on that because I don't want to bust people's bubble. But there's some dreams we shouldn't be chasing, because if it doesn't bring us what we want, the success, joy, and happiness that we desire to have in our lives and the lives of our family, then we need to make sure that that dream gets put on the shelf, because that dream is going to be a nightmare and it's going to be destructive. And typically, right now, where we're in is we're in a nightmare. Okay. Now, I'm going to mention one more book. This book was written back in the 1700s, late 1700s. And it's translated from a text. The name of this book is called The Protocols of the Meetings of the Learned Elders of Zion. And these people set up a system in which they're still in implementation today, such that if you put things in people's face and make them attractive or seem to be attractive, they will be distracted by what's going on the other side that they have no clue. And if you look at what's going on now and you see what's going on, I'm not saying not go get some things that you want because you've worked for them. But is that more important than making sure your family's okay? Making sure that you set up your family for their tomorrow, making sure that your family's solid, so we don't have these horror stories that we have in our community about what young people are doing because things are out of order. And most of the time, the young people are a reflection of who we are, because if they're out of order, we're out of order. And as long as we're out of order, then we're going to have what the ancients, and especially in Kemet, called isfet, called chaos. So Fat is order. Isfat is chaos. So if we get an opportunity to in a few minutes, if we can go to the presentation again, then there's a very important picture that I like to put up to show that even inside of us, right? We go, oh, the devil made me do it. No, it wasn't the devil. It wasn't another entity outside of you. It was the part. It was the other half, the lower half of you that desired these things that you have to learn how to master and grow out of and subdue so that your higher self can become the person and the being that you are, and not the lower self that used to be that's childlike. And I want to have this, and I want to have that, and I want these things, and I want that thing, and I want all of this stuff. Meanwhile, you end up having a shallow, hollow, empty life because your higher self was never allowed to advance and become the God person that you are. Right? I'm gonna go back to what we mentioned before. Uh, Brother Mickey Jordan is talking about redoing the studio. That's an inspiration that came to him from God because of his connection to God. So as he's moving out of his lower self into his higher self, now he's able to hear messages that he wasn't able to hear before, or see messages that were put there he wasn't able to see before. So his inspiration that come from God is to change the studio to make it look the way he desires it to look as he moves forward in his journey and becoming a master craftsman in his craft. How long you been doing this?
Since 2020.
Okay. So he got a little bit of way. He got to get to 33 years before he gets to be a master craftsman. So he got a little bit of ways to go. And sometimes because of the oh, there he is, Mr. Sims. Good afternoon, sir. Glad you could join us. We appreciate it. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but because you suggested it, I'm working on a online platform to do some tutoring and put some of this other information that people are missing out. So I thank you very much for the push. We appreciate it. Okay, if we have an opportunity to, big bro, can we go back to the presentation if you still got it? You have access to it?
I got you.
Okay. So there's one picture that I want to show, and I remember saying there was a young lady who sent in a message a few weeks back who said that she had been through some rough times in her life, and God came to pull her out of her life, save her, and that's a beautiful thing. But there's also um, the other part that she is now walking in her higher self because her higher self finally said that we are no longer going to walk this walk. And so because of that, now you're going to be here. Now her discussion was about there being many gods in ancient Kemet. No, there's only one God, but there are many expressions about who God is. So anytime one is inspired, that's an expression from God. Trees, plants, grass, flowers, the air, water, those are all expressions from God because God created them. Those are expressions from God. So they have the energy from God as well. So if we look at it, we can't look at God in the singular lens because God is too vast to look at
It
in
wasn't
singular.
this one more.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So I want to go down to, let me see. Okay, that's 17. Let's go down a little bit more. Nope, yep, number 19. Yep. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this one real quick. The family, if we can. We can pull it back up. That's fine.
Well, I just put it on there. Hold on one
Oh,
second.
okay. So if we look at this particular screen, the Pharaoh, that's I want to say is that Ramesses? Thutmose the third. Thutmose the third. And then you see on either side of him, right? On one side, the falcon head god is called Heru. In Greek mythology, he is known, or Greekisms, he is known as Horus. On the other side, that is Set, which is unfortunately people translated it to Satan. But if you look in either one of their hands, right, you see that in both of their hands, they have an Ankh. The Ankh is a symbol of life. And both of them are touching, have their hands on the crown. Set represents the lower part of the being, and Heru represents the higher part, the God part of the being, right? So that means there's a duality in all of us. And that duality, eventually, as one is disciplined, the higher self overcomes the lower self. That's the whole point of the exercise. That's the whole point of the spiritual discipline. That's the whole point of all of these disciplines that we see in the world, whether it be yoga, whether it be Buddhism, whether it be Christianity, Islam. There's a higher part that gets forgotten that is supposed to have man force the lower self to be small and the higher self to be the God part, which is bigger. But what's happening right now in the world, of course, is the lower self is more important because we want to chase this and go get that. And we don't want to do right by people and all of these other things because it's more important for us to be on our lower self than it is for us to be on our higher self, because our higher self requires us to be disciplined. Meanwhile, the lower part, it's like a kid. I'm out there doing whatever I want to do. It don't matter. I can go do what I want to. I can get this. I don't care who I hurt. I don't care what I do. It don't matter. I just want to get this. But that's not how it goes. The duality says there's got to be a balance. And it's might be okay if we lived in a culture, because we don't. We live in a society. If we lived in a culture that says it's okay for us to be little kids for a little while, but eventually you have to grow up and grow into your God self. Your God self is already always there. So that's even with people, and I'm gonna make this blanket statement, and it's gonna offend people. That's my job. It's okay. If a person has an addiction, right? You're in your lower self because the only thing matters is the addiction. Okay. Now, some people, and I had some friends that I used to work with when I worked over at Mott, would say, because I love books, that's my addiction, right? So they would tease me about it. But it's not something I have to have. An addiction takes over your life. You're just driven by whatever drives you in order to whether it be drugs, whether it be sex, whether it be drinking or whatever, it just drives you. I gotta have this. And then eventually, either two things happen. Either you come to a crisis moment where your higher self says that's enough, or you die. See it. Now, if it comes to the point where your higher self, who sees that you're still worth something, steps in, your higher self is the higher part that's connected to God. Oh, I found God. You hear that all the time. God was never lost. God, you just didn't find God in you yet, because you can't find God outside until you find God on the inside. Now, I know people ain't teaching y'all that because, but it says it in the Bible. Ye are gods on the God. It says it in the Bible. Go look it up. I'm going to have y'all do a little homework. Y'all got a whole week to make sure you tell me what verse. And I know ain't nobody going to do it because don't nobody like to study. We like to be told what to do and get fed what to do. Nobody wants to go and find it. But if you so take the challenge, go take the challenge and find out where it says, ye are gods on the God. because it says that. Because even Jesus, the Christ,
Right.
and I'm not saying Jesus Christ, it's Jesus the Christ, I'm saying it on purpose, says that you all are my brothers and you can do the same thing I do. Okay, go find that too. Y'all got 2 pieces of homework. Go find it. I believe that's definitely got to be in the New Testament. Both of them probably are.
But he tell you also, it's nothing he can't do without the Father.
So therefore, my point. So therefore, with him even finding him own self as God, the God in himself, he couldn't connect to his own Father without connecting to the God in himself.
I don't think we're being taught really religion.
No, we're being taught dogma.
Facts.
Dogma is completely different. Dogma is a set of rules. And I'm going to go, and I didn't put this on this presentation, but the rules that Moses supposedly broke were the 42 admonitions of Ma'at, because he was an ancient Kemet.
Right.
That's where you get the rules from.
Yeah. But that's why I don't think how we haven't woke up as a people where you can see they took from here and put it here, and then presented it to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the way it was also presented it to us was either you take it or you die. And that was the same thing with Islam. Go look through your history. I'm not giving y'all that as a homework assignment. But Islam did the same thing. Islam did the exact same thing. From the equator north, it's all Islamic. How? It wasn't just something that people came in, we bringing you the Quran or and we bring you the Quran and we just want you to accept it willingly. They kill people for it. We don't talk about it.
No, and that's what I do think. I think, like, too, what we get it confused at, because a lot of them, and I do this with my brother. See, a lot of people think Islam started with Arabs, and I think that's what the misconception is at, because it goes back to what Prophet Muhammad. When you go to Bilal was an Ethiopian.
Yeah, Bilal the Ethiopian. He was black, and he was the one who gave. Thank you very much.
He called the prayer to
You're right. He taught Muhammad the prayer because Muhammad didn't know it.
So how did he know it? So he must have had it before Prophet Muhammad had it.
Right.
That's the only thing when I be saying, because a lot of times I think we get confused when a lot of people do be saying Islam, they get caught up with they automatically put it with Arabs.
Right.
And they don't see it. I think when we do talk about, when you say an invasion, when they came in and how they did it, same way with the ones who took Christianity.
Absolutely.
How they came in. I just think it's the ones who did it. See, what we get a lot of the stories like when you hear in the wars.
Right.
But I don't think that was during our time when I think when the planet was being ruled by the blacks. I think when we get into that, that's when you get into the Hyssoaks, the different invasions, and even with the Crusades.
Right.
Because it all was still over there in Africa.
Right. And the thing is that's absolutely the truth. But that was when those ancient kingdoms were on their downfall. You're not going to challenge them when they're on the upper, because you weren't ready. We ruled over there. Right. So because Israel is connected to Egypt, it's the same landmass. And they want to say, oh, Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia didn't exist unless African people did it. They don't come in, but see, you always want to put another group over African people, but you can't, because if African people were first on the landmass, period, 3.5 million years ago, who was here first? Nobody. Those civilizations coming up to now 700, 800,000 years, 1 million years, 2 million years. Remember, I mentioned that in Egypt, they have a museum that they're opening that says it's 700,000 years of ancient Egyptian history. So if that's the truth, then that means just in Egypt, the 600 miles of the Nile from Egypt to the Delta, then that means there's another 800,000 or 900,000 years of growth and development from the beginnings of the Nile, where the blue Nile and the white Nile meet. To start the Nile, you got 4,000 miles of the whole river. And if you take 600 miles of it, that means you got 3,500 miles of river that people civilized and cultivated before you even get to Egypt.
If you just go by Bible, It's only supposed to be
Bro,
Bible. You
people
start
don't
from
even
Abraham.
read the Old
Yeah,
Testament.
you start from where it started from Genesis in the beginning. It's only 6,000 years old. That's how much history.
If that.
But that's the history that you getting. You getting off infinity. You getting a segment
Right.
of history.
Right. Yes.
You getting a 6,000 year history, and I think people not really looking at it right.
No,
and
because
I could be wrong.
Because you're absolutely right. Because then you have to say that the African Al-Kibalanian people that were there are older than anybody else. And if you even go by Moses' story with Ramesses, you only talking 6,000 years. Who was that before him?
That's what I was.
And so you're absolutely right. So there's thousands of years of history before Ramesses and Moses, because if the Sphinx is over 12,000 years old, then the Sphinx was already there when the story was written.
And that blows away your books.
When
you going through that history that you getting, because you getting a period. You're not getting a whole thing of creation.
No,
you're getting a period. Because they always say, well, the Big Bang Theory. They always go with the dinosaurs was here. It was like,
and that's fine.
You prove that?
Okay, so if we follow what science says so far, and the Big Bang happened that created the universe. If the sun is 10 billion years old, according to science, and the earth is 4.5 billion years old, according to science, because they do this plugging and they do carbon dating the same way that Dr. Sheikh Diop was able to determine and prove again to UNESCO in the world that the pharaohs were African. Same concept, same science.
But that goes to Lucy with the bones. If that one was
3.8 million years ago, right? Go ahead.
That's 3.8.
Right.
We know Lucy had a mother and a father.
Right.
Because that's how we are. I don't
absolutely
do all that. We know how we got
right
through that agent. So we know her mother
had to
have.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's the only thing when they be trying to say, if she was 2 billion, if she was 3.8 million years old, how far are you going back with the dinosaur? It's like they busting up the Western myths, as I call it.
And that's exactly what the issue is, which is the reason why there's this fight about not having to teach our history and not wanting us to know our history, because then you go like, oh, really? If you take the history in and let it change you, our history and our story, and let it change you the way that it should, then you can no longer. Then my lower self don't matter no more.
Facts.
Because I know that I'm connected to God in a special and unique way, and everybody else is trying to destroy that.
Oh, no. You're telling the truth on that. That's why I can't really, I be trying to pay attention to, that's why I don't take the church serious.
You can't, because it's dogmatic.
Right. And it's like, you cannot tell me I'm going to catch hell while I'm here, and then only to die. And you know what I'm saying?
Bro, the dumbest thing that we've ever been taught in our life is that you were born in sin and that you have to go through these particular set of dogma in order for how? If I'm just born, what the hell sin did I commit? Excuse me for cussing. What sin did I commit?
Right.
What sin did I commit? How?
Yeah.
How did I commit a sin and I didn't do anything to anybody? I didn't break any commandments. I'm a brand new child, brand new on the earth. A day old. What sin did I commit against somebody else? Make that make sense that what my father did, if he did something, is my fault. How? That's dogma. Because in order for you to get out of it, I need you to pay. And again, we talked about this before, not even understanding that the payment to the storehouse, but when lean times come, you get it back. So therefore, this whole thing where you got to build this monumental church is a bunch of lies. Because if we follow the story, where did Jesus the Christ, and I'm saying it that way for a reason, Jesus the Christ, and actually it's Yeshua the Christ, where did he talk to the person that he said was going to build my church? He was outside in nature, because nature governs and rules all. So it's called Mother Nature, Mother Earth, Mother Africa. Why? Why? Because it gave birth to everything.
Fact.
The African, see, if we, as long as we are ignorant to the fact that we're the progenitors of everything on the earth, then we stay low level. It's okay. It's all right for you to kill me. It's okay for. I just saw another thing this morning on the news feed. Man calls 911 because there's an intruder in his house and they kill him. I think it was in Vegas. So what does that mean? Now, if somebody break in, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not calling y'all.
Yeah,
For what?
Nah, facts.
Because you gonna come in with the wrong notion.
Right. But that's something though. I come break in your house. But that's what I'm saying. When you look, it's a church down on every corner in America.
Every corner
in America.
In
America.
And especially inner cities.
Oh my goodness.
Where and now I know people may not like this brother, but I heard something that he said, Charleston White. His delivery is what it is because he's trying to get people to follow him, listen, like. Right. He said that. How is it the people of the church and the church supposed to be important when the church doors closed and can't nobody come in when it's cold to get a place to sleep?
That's true.
If you got a place and it's supposed to be there to serve people, I'm straight. I don't need you. Right. But somebody else that's hungry needs you.
And that's the point that I was making. Like when you had these mega churches, they having 2,000 or 3,000 people in there. When you having unpaid tithes, it shouldn't be not one person in your don't have a place to stay.
I just got through a couple of weeks ago talking to a friend of mine who told me they were going to this church. This older woman donated almost everything to this church because she believed in the message. And yet when she came on a financial hardship about her home, the church would not step up and help her. And so therefore she lost everything. That's condemnable.
Yeah.
That's condemnable. Because if I'm put in, don't tell me to pray and get, God to help you, because then you're a liar.
Yeah.
I need something physical and tangible. I got a problem. I need your help.
Why they can't do that?
They don't want to.
Yeah, why the church not buying up the neighborhood? They be having down there a million, especially the mega churches. They be having, you see your pastor be living out in Grand Blanc. He living in a $250,000 house, but the people that's coming to your church, they suffering, but they steady giving.
Yeah.
Why you ain't buying up the block where you can put your people in houses?
Right. And then they ain't got to pay. Right. And then you ain't got to pay.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, to me, it's like,
because you're talking about a revolutionary concept instead of talking about something. Because if you really want to be godlike, that's what you do.
Right.
And if you don't, you're just lying. You're lying to your people.
But what God say, you come to heaven, you're gonna have mansions.
Right.
Now how can his, like, even with like Jesus, you said at my father's house, you gonna, how God can supply this, but you saying you a man of God, you up under the cloth. I don't care if you got 100 people in your church. All 90% ain't gonna need houses. You might have only say 30-40% gonna maybe need places to stay.
Right.
Why when y'all couldn't build for that to go buy houses? I'm just saying.
And it ain't like you don't have the money, because I heard that last year that $420 billion from black churches was put in banks and stuff. $420 billion.
That's when I seen Creflo Dollar gold toilets. His own private jet.
Private jet. $20 million Gulfstream. What do you need to do that for?
You know what neighborhood 20 million.
Right. No different than what we talked about the election. And have you got a dime yet for the election here? No. Okay. All right.
I keep getting asked to keep donating.
Oh, you can keep on getting asked to keep donating? Yeah, I ain't donating nothing.
Because I sent mine back. I responded to the email. They said, no, send me some money.
Right. Because if you're out here trying to do the right thing to uplift people, then you don't get credit for that. But if you're doing some other stuff, see, I was just talking to somebody earlier today. There's a proverb. There's an African proverb that says, the wicked are followed by many, and the righteous are followed by a few. So we may not ever get no more than 100 followers, but at least maybe they'll change. If they change their life, that's acceptable. Now, do we need thousands? Absolutely. I'm not knocking nobody. Everybody got the way that they do what they do. That's cool. Fine. Hey, they my brothers and sisters, however we speaking. The more voices, the better. And I'm not saying my view is my view based upon my study. Everybody else have their view, but and they view based upon their study. I'm not knocking nobody.
You said the key word, study.
Studies.
A lot of people have a view and ain't studied nothing.
Nothing. They just got an opinion.
Yeah. Facts.
And the thing is keep your opinion unless you base it on fact.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nobody's opinion. I don't care. But give me some scholarship before you talk to me.
No, facts.
I don't care nothing about what you think. I could care less. Give me some scholarship.
I just want to know where's our scholars that we had back in the day, like
well, they got rid of them.
Party.
They got rid of them. They had to get rid of them. They got rid of them because if you waking people up, then you can no longer no longer want to have that.
I see this one.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah.
Hey, when I come to Chicago, I'm gonna check you out. So make sure you look for me. I'm gonna let you know.
But you see now that a church like
he
just put up in Chicago, so we had a church that built a community of homes that were built for his congregation.
Yep.
Who were not privy to bank loans or denied. It flourishes even to today.
Yep.
Now,
and so that's easy. It's easy to do it. The people don't want to do it.
Now you can't tell me that ain't
right.
God in that individual.
Absolutely. Because it's like I'm not sitting here above you, right? Like sometimes I'm a sidebar. When I get an opportunity to lecture, they want you to stand up above people. No, I'm not standing up above nobody so they can see me. I'm gonna be down in the audience because you want me to. That's that projection that you're better than. No. That's right. So even sitting up in a pulpit with the preachers and all that other stuff, that means you think you better than the people that you're supposed to serve? No, you're supposed to be lower because servitude requires you to be humble, and people are not humble. People are not humble. People are arrogant. People are asinine, and all of those words, and some words I know I can't say.
Facts.
Because look at me. God made me special. God made everybody special. You ain't no special. What makes you think you get called by God more than me?
Right.
I had a sister tell me one time, I could never follow you because you've never been through anything in your life. And I said, let me explain something to you. You'll be foolish to even think that you could say that to me. I said, because you don't know what I've been through, right? You don't know the number of people that I lost based upon things that they've done. And I explained to her a couple of things. I lost a cousin who committed suicide over a man. I lost two other cousins playing basketball. We were going to play ball, and they had needles in their arm. So you mean to tell me because I chose not to follow that, and you did, that makes him better than me? Well, baby, if that's what you think, then go ahead on. Because this God guided me different, and you don't understand that because you're still in your lower self. So even when people go to their meetings, I don't knock it. That's cool. But at what point in time are you going to master your addiction?
Right.
Because if you're still in your lower self, then you got to go here because you're feeding off of each other, right? You're not interested in your higher self because that's not fun. That requires you to be disciplined, right? Now, not knocking folks, not knocking organizations, not knocking none of that. But it requires us to be disciplined.
Facts. No, I agree with you with that. Like you said, and that's even when you listening, that's even Christianity.
It's all of it.
When it's telling you battling with your upper and lower self.
So the concept comes from ancient Kemet, and that's the thing. You're battling either chaos is fat or fat, which is order.
Right.
That's it. That's the only thing you're battling. You're battling within yourself. Oh, I'm gonna go chase her. I'm gonna chase her. I'm gonna chase her. That's my lower self.
Yeah.
That's my lower self.
Facts.
If I hey, how you doing? And then I don't get no response, I'm good. Then you ain't the one I need to be investing my time in. Oh man, I'm gonna be mad because no, that's my lower self. I ain't got time for that.
No, what's up, Carl Lewis? When you even look what he's saying, as far as when you hear God when he telling you, it's like we battling with principalities in high places.
Where is that? That's Kemetic. That is not Christian. That is Kemetic. As a matter of fact, Christianity, the word Christ doesn't come until after he's long gone.
Facts.
And they get it from a Sanskrit word, KRST, that means the perfect black one.
Facts.
Means the perfect black one. That's it.
And they don't get it. It's like,
because nobody studies.
Right. Even when they looking at the commandments, like you say with the 42, what is it?
42 admonitions of mine.
Admonitions of Yah. When you listen, we seeing it. Even when you look at the Bible, when you seeing when God sending his mans down there to tell the people, even when you go look, you got to turn from Sodom and Gomorrah, from Nineveh. If you go look at
everything Jesus, is about your higher self compared to your lower self.
And he was trying to tell even what Jesus said. Surrender what is Caesar's is what is Caesar's. When you're looking at it, you seeing through the book. These people are they have been sent prophets to try to change them from their wicked ways. I think Nineveh was the only one that repented and was saved.
Right. And please God help everybody go read the book of Jeremiah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
People see, we don't want to read the book of I'm done. I only talk about one book. That's the book of Job. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Now, if there's another way to look at that story, which I'll get into later on. Not right now. This is later on. So if you had God and the devil say, we're going to bet on this man. 28 days and I'll break him. No, you ain't going to break him.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that's my faithful servant. Now, there's two ways to look at that. Right. He's so faithful to me. I'm going to let you do what you want to him, but you can't take his life.
Right.
Hold on, big bro. Time out, guy. Hey, man, wait a second. Why am I suffering all of this?
Right.
And then everything was taken from him. And then you replace it with other people and other things that he had no attachment to. He was attached to his wife. He was attached to his children. So what, other than him being faithful, there's a part of that story that's probably going to be up for another discussion, because I have a problem with the fact that it's okay that we sit here and make this bet in the first place. And I'm going to let you suffer these things just to test your faith.
All going to be tested.
Yeah, but I got to lose everything in order for me to know. You're going to make me go back and I got to getting 7 wives may be cool. And he has 7 times 7 children from them wives and all that other stuff. But what about the one he lost and the children that he lost and the home that he lost? And everything that he put all of this work in and he lost. Now, this may irk some people. I have a whole nother discussion about that.
Right.
But the book of Job is bump reading everything else.
Right. But go back and look at this though. Just think about what with Noah. Even think about with Lot.
But that's the principalities, right?
When you lose, remember Lot, he told Abraham just to go get Lot and his family.
Right.
Don't you know Lot them had cousins?
Yeah, he just
Probably,
her and them children. The rest of them got to go because they were already corrupt.
Right. And when you go look at the debate God and Abraham was having, when he said when God, he told him, you will let them all go. He said, go find me. Remember, he was thinking going back. He said, just go find me 50.
Right.
One. He went all the way down to one. Just find me one. Because he was showing, man, my judgment is what it is. They're not going to turn.
But to see, the issue that we have is that we're not going back to look further into the story other than what we get here, right? Now, why do people sit around here and dismiss the Old Testament? Because the Old Testament is connected to ancient Egypt.
Facts. Yeah.
It's connected to ancient Egypt. So we're going to dismiss that, right? We'll dismiss that so we can stay in the New Testament, because the New Testament is supposed to be, but it's not.
But Jesus tell you when he come, he said, I don't come to break the laws. I come to uphold the laws, enforce the law.
That was created in ancient Egypt.
Facts. And that's why he said, when he came, he said, I didn't come to break them. I come to uphold them. If you pay attention to laws, God never changed.
It's people.
The people, right.
It's people.
His understanding never changed. That's why when you be saying when his judgment, and just being honest, he could have probably knocked down Abraham when he telling Abraham, no, my judgment is final, but I'm going to let you go back. Now, that's what was gangster to me. Because you telling me my judgment I'm off.
Okay.
Remember, I'm God.
Right.
You telling me my judgment is off when I done told you. I done brought judgment down. And I'm telling you, it's time to go get these select few that I'm telling you that's
right.
Just think about what Lot. Remember, his wife turned back around.
Yeah, because she was so in love with Gomorrah that she turned around to see it burn. And then now you pile us off. And the kids.
Right. And just think about this, what was gangster. When the angels came, remember when they came with it, the people when they came to the Lot house, what they say? Lot offered my daughters.
Right.
He said, I offer my daughters. No, we want the men.
Right. Yeah. 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 Right.
But yet, this is in Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. So therefore, all of the decadence is for what? Because if you were living in your higher self like we did in Kemet,
facts,
then you don't have this. These stories don't matter.
Facts.
Because the only thing you have is when you die, you go through this judgment. And if you pass the judgment, then your heart doesn't get eaten. So now you get a chance to go through a mentor and be with your family and sail on a solar boat to heaven.
Right.
So you got to change the story to create the chaos because you're chaotic.
Facts. Yeah. They done twisted up so good. Even with the Bible, you see what William Shakespeare was an author that, had something to do with it.
Right.
I forgot which one it's in, but
it's King James version.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. King James, like I hear a lot of the brothers, but it mainly be the what is their name?
Them guys.
Hebrew Israelite. They would want to say the King James. No, how you gonna consider this a holy book when he was an unholy man? Go study up on King James and see what type of person he was. Yeah. He did all kind of crazy stuff. And that's even when they started Christianity, when they decided, like, people don't understand, well, Rome, they weren't going to be able to keep winning through their military. So they decided, well,
just the greatest thing, 325 AD.
He had that dream that he was the cross, he was going to rule, which it was the religion. Now,
Augustus, though, was African. That's the reason why, in Florida, you got a city called St. Augustine. Mm-hmm. So in the church, you have some sacraments called the Augustus sacraments. He was African.
Well, you know what? I did a little bit of research. That's why I didn't see nothing different when Obama became president. Because even during that time, they said during Roman Empire, they won't tell you they had a black Caesar.
Well, now you're looking at a movie Gladiator 2 or 3, and now you see one, right? Because black people was all we were everywhere, right? We were everywhere. But back to what we've been talking about, all of this stuff is comedic.
Yeah.
But you have people that don't want to acknowledge it because then you have to. It forces you to look at yourself differently because now you have to see the God in you. And if you don't, then you keep it pulls the veil off. Pull the veil off. And we don't want to do that because we much rather tell somebody that you got to go and take communion and you got to go and you got to do 17,000 Hail Marys and the little kid can't come and sing in the church choir because you got to go and stay with the And then, but that's okay though.
Yeah. From Monday to Saturday, you can cause hell, but show up Sunday.
Sunday. No, you got to be, you can go and, say 17 Hail Marys and whatever else and come to altar call and confess your sin. Meanwhile, I'm going to come knocking on your door at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to help you get over your sin because you sin real bad and I need to help you by laying hands on it. Not laying hands on, but laying hands on it. Are you serious? No, come on. So therefore, what, and then all of the scandalous stuff and whatever, right? So how? Okay, let's go back to Obama, Dr. Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who was that's probably the church he's talking about, who was like, hey, he preached like we sound, right?
Yeah.
And then you had to cut him loose because he was, they made people uncomfortable with you being around a man who spoke that way. Because you can't have an angry black man in the pulpit, angry African man in the pulpit preaching against white supremacy because that makes us uncomfortable.
And if you go back, and this brother, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, see, this is what people got to understand. He fought in the war.
Yep.
He was a military man.
Right.
So what he was saying, he was really showing you with Hillary Clinton. Really, see, a lot of people don't want to look at it. The Clintons didn't really like the Obamas.
No,
She was mad. She went all the way up to the end of the convention before she finally gave Obama. And what people got to understand, Obama cleared her campaign debt when he won.
Right. Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
Cleared your campaign debt. Jeremiah Wright was only showing what she felt like showing, like you said, her entitlement.
Yeah.
She thought it was entitled, like Obama shouldn't have. He got in her way. He was sitting up there.
But she wasn't going to win no way because you weren't going to have sexist, racist power structure give any information or any power to a woman. This is the same thing that just happened here. Regardless of who she married to. She married to a white Jewish man. Right. They wasn't going to put her in there. This is a sexist, racist country. And if you got a group of people that can continue the racist rhetoric, who in the world do you think? I'm going to still go ahead on and kick it with him.
Right, but just look at it. This why I be so mad. Go back and read the Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass debates. Not you, I know.
I know. People don't want to do that.
When you go read them. No, that wasn't no friend talking to a friend.
No, that was a debate.
Yeah,
but you talking about the debate with Lincoln and with Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, or Lincoln and the other Douglass down from the Confederacy. You talking about he was talking to Frederick Douglass?
He was talking to Frederick Douglass.
Oh, absolutely.
No for a surety.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want no light to come to your people.
None. And I would never allow. And I've heard even Dr. J. Rogers said he was black because of his dusky skin or whatever. Yeah. But if that's the case, if he was black, why would you not set your people free? Why would you argue that I would not have another race of people think that they're equal to the white race that I feel is superior, that I know is superior, and the other race is inferior? If he was black, come on.
But that goes because they said we had some other black presidents, but that goes back to what I was telling you about Rome when they had the Black Caesar.
Right.
They said he was rough on Africans.
That's what I'm saying. So therefore, what do they call that? They call it's the same thing that they said that in Germany with the Jewish people, that when they put Jewish people in charge, there's a name for it, that they were harder on the Jews that they had in the concentration camps. And it's a term, I can't remember. I'm sorry, you all, but it's a term that they have where I'm gonna be harder on you than I would be than the Germans are, because at least I get some breadcrumb from the Germans, and they ended up killing them people anyway.
Oh, that's just like when you got black police officers.
Yeah, there's stuff that happened in Memphis.
Yeah, even when Ice Cube, back in NWA, they said a black cop showing out for the white cop.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's still true to this day. You see them come in, you would be under you. You would be like, damn, man, why you being hard? You know, it's like, it's like we but they've been, see, the thing is, this would happen to America, these phones.
Right.
Now you can record your ass whipping. First, we wasn't getting that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, we was policing it with the gun, with the Panthers before the phone. But here's the thing. I'm going to say this, that all of those people surrounding George Floyd when he got killed, you had all of these people around. Why the hell are you recording and not pulling these police officers off? You could have saved his life, right? If you so desired to do so. Let them shoot. They're going to shoot, then you sue. No problem. You get arrested, but you could have saved. You sitting there filming, but you're not trying to save his life.
I can answer that question.
Go ahead on. Let me hear you.
Just like when you put an elephant, you didn't have him on a chain for so long, and then when you put him on that rope tied to a chair, he not realizing who he is.
Right.
And that's what it is.
And this is what we're talking about, is we're still in our lower self.
Facts.
Thinking that we belong and we deserve the same thing that everybody else gonna get. And we really don't. Because if you really want to deserve what you want to get, go home. Right. Oh, we built this. You were forced to build this place. Right. And we sit here talking about reparations. What I'm gonna give you reparations for? You can go to our colleges. We allow you to marry some of our women, or some of our men marry some of your women. We give you all of this illusionary thing that you think that you're part of this. You're really actually not.
I'm just gonna watch what Donald Sterling said. people keep forgetting about him. The one who used to own the Clippers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember when he said, "I feed them, I clothe them."
Yeah.
Was he lying on what he was
No,
saying?
he was absolutely on point.
Yeah.
So they still figure we own you. So therefore, reparations is never going to happen because we own you still.
See, they tricked us and had us thinking we wasn't still on the plantation.
Oh yeah, no.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I think they tricked us, had us thinking because we can go to Miami, we can go to Vegas,
yeah,
we can go to some of y'all spots that we can wine and dine. That some of us got to
but that's
move in our
integration.
neighborhood.
That's integration, though.
Yeah.
Integration has fooled us into thinking that we have some equality.
Right.
We really don't.
Right.
We've gotten away from ourselves about who we are on purpose, and we don't want to know who we are until it comes to a time like what they say. You run back to the black community when you've done something. Because you out there and you figure, well, I'm out here, I done made it, I done done this. Then when I mess up, I run back to the black people because we figure that, they'll embrace me again.
Yeah, because we think their ice is better than ours.
Yeah.
That's why you go.
And we made ice. Are you serious?
we do. We act like going to them, their ice is better than ours.
Yeah, but look at the dream.
Yeah,
and I wasn't gonna mention it before, but there was a dream. And it got shattered in 1966 when you recognize, man, the house is super hot. This house is burning.
Yeah.
So why am my house is cool?
Yeah.
I ain't got air conditioning, but I got fans on.
Why they don't ever mention that part with it?
Because
integrated my people into a burning house.
Because then you make him look like he was conscious and he was consciously aware, but he believed in this ideology that never was gonna work. It was never going to work because they don't want you. You're never going to be equal to me. Kwame Ture says that.
Facts.
We're not. What are you trying to be equal to? They don't want you to be equal to. We fought in every single war from the American Revolution up until now, and still no equality. And they kill soldiers.
Yeah.
They don't give them the benefits. They don't give them extra benefits because
the laughing barrel.
Right.
In South Carolina, when you wanted to laugh, you had to go put your head in the barrel. That was in America.
Yeah.
See, they act like they forget that.
Yeah. Well, so even some of the games that when you throw the ball in the hole, at one time there was a black man that stuck his head in the hole, and you took a baseball and you throw it at him in order to hit his head. And if you hit him, you won a prize. Yeah. Now, you take that to a carnival. It was actually a carnival in the 20s and the 30s where they did that.
Yeah.
Right? So and I'm going to go this far, and I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, somebody got some homework. Even the dunk tank wasn't really what it was. It was something else. Now, in my head, and I could be wrong, and I got to research it myself, it might have been that, but they stuck a rope around somebody next to him. You hit the thing and he fall off, then something might have happened to him. I could be wrong. That's just how I think. But I know for sure sticking your head in the hole, that's actual. There's a museum called the Jim Crow Museum of Racist Memorabilia in Big Rapids at the college. And if anybody gets an opportunity to go there, you need to go see the museum. And they show that. Even when they talk about, I know this is off the subject, we're going to get back before we finish. Gator bait.
Oh, man, it's a brother I was watching on when they show you how they was doing the babies. You go down to Louisiana and they got them what they call them, the figures that, what I'm saying, that they got replicas of how they was doing. They even got the pictures.
Yeah.
When you were saying they was using these black babies to catch these.
Yeah.
But once you go back and look what we were, they was nothing but breeders. You got to think about it. The buck, like, oh my God.
Okay, and we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
But why then are we still interested in being part of something that we're not part of?
Going back to that elephant, we've been on this chain for so long.
Okay, well then my chain been broke. So
yeah, but we ain't got enough like that. See, we got maybe 4 or 5%, maybe 5% that's really paying attention what's going on. I do believe in that 5, the 10, and the 85. Right. And when you look and seeing how stuff is being set up, it's like, especially America's whole problem is what they're gonna do with the black man and woman. That's really what the problem is.
Well,
just
but
like
that
with
was a
them.
problem that started. I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
no,
That
no
was a
problem.
problem that started when after enslavement, and they created Liberia. The
Yeah,
whole point of the exercise was for people to leave, and there were some people that did leave, but then they went back over there, and you see what happened recently, where they had the
yeah.
civil war in Liberia because African people from America thought that they was greater than African people from Africa. Same ignorant, same level of ignorance. And you're right. You're right, because the greatest reason why that we would force power is we keep our money.
Right. That's what we got to
We already
do.
did that in
Yeah,
1955. We
yeah.
already showed that. Bump that. Oh, we're gonna go shopping for Black Friday, and there are gonna be people out there
No,
because they don't
facts.
care.
Yeah, no, facts.
So, and that's okay that they don't care.
Facts.
But then that means you also know who you have to be watchful of as well,
Yeah,
because they still in their lower self.
yeah. And I think that's why they want. That's why I think they took America to more drugs. Like we're gonna give it to the people, feed them, because
Yeah,
like if you
yeah.
like, because even with that, don't get it twisted. And it's not to cut it off, but I was watching something, 'cause I shared it on my page when a young brother was talking about the Mike Tyson and
Yeah, that debacle.
fight.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
but that was a money grab.
yeah, that's all it was.
Right. And I think, but that's where it's like when you go back to siege of Rome, even when Nero was burning Rome, when he burnt Rome, let's give them sport and play. Let's give them the Coliseum. Let's give them this.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is where it's at now. We just all entertainment.
But that's basically. So why do you think social media has all of these people doing certain things to get likes and whatever? Because honestly, if you really had, and I'm not knocking what people do, I'm just making an observation. There's some people on there that do stuff for health reasons. Cool, no problem. They working out and this and another. They show their transformation where they either had children and they was working on their body. They got their body together, or or I'm just was overweight and I was sickly and I got myself together through working out and change a diet or whatever. And if I did this, you can do this too. But other people on there just for fools because you want somebody to see you. But what are you doing with your life that people want to see? I live this way. I live this way. I live in our history. I walk this walk for real. Right? Now, I'm going to say this is personal. My sister, I performed her services last week. Nobody else did because we were not of the same belief, not of the same faith. I performed my sister's services from the obituary to the burial. I did it all.
No, but as we should. Even that's what I'm saying. If you go even look at the Moses when he left. Remember, Joseph was before Moses when he came to help Egypt out. Or was I'm saying the right one? Remember,
Moses and then Joseph was
before Moses. Remember, Moses done went and got not Jesus' father Joseph. I'm talking about. I might be saying his name wrong. Remember the one to help Egypt, the Pharaoh.
James. I don't remember.
Man.
All I know,
his brother sold him into slavery.
Yeah.
Remember, he was the
Yeah. Okay.
Moses on their way leaving Egypt. Moses went and got his remains,
right,
and took them with them.
Right. Yeah. But which is African.
Yeah. Right. Remember, he took them because that's what I think. If you really go study, if we really go see it, like if you really study Moses, but if you go listen to if you really.
So let me say this real quick. I'm gonna cut you off.
Go ahead.
Where in Ramesses II's tomb is Moses ever mentioned? He's not on the whole script. That's his brother.
Yeah.
On the whole script, on all of the writings, on all of the pyramid texts, he's never mentioned.
Some say he was almost the third.
Well,
some do say that like almost. They were saying something because I done seen it because I was watching what's his name? Ashwa
Quasi. That's one of my teachers.
Yeah, he be like when he was going, he said some might think that was Atmos the third when he was talking about when they threw the invaders out.
Right.
That's why I get the Hissites and the
right.
It was from him watching how he was breaking it down. Right. Even with the Kemetic laws.
Right.
That's when you saying it when he said telling you one people know not to do this.
Right.
One being told not to do this.
Right.
See, when we looking at it, it's like, and I really think that a lot. You know, sometimes I just think our pastors are really not breaking it down.
They can't because then you set your people free.
Yeah.
If you tell people that even with you battling with your lower self,
Yeah.
right? That don't mean that come in fellowship,
Yeah.
but fellowship to build something.
Right.
What are we building? What are we doing?
Right.
Right? So we come, hey man. So well, I don't need to sit down there and talk to you for 2 hours about 2 verses about a chicken that ran across the road and which one came first. The other one over there. Nobody needs to do that. That's a waste of time. Okay. We're supposed to be, I'm not even gonna say believers, we're knowers of God, but we're not doers of God.
Facts.
Because they're not out here doing none of that type of work, none of that other stuff, all of that other stuff. We're not doing that. Why? Once Sunday afternoon's over, then we back back up to what's name until next Sunday.
Facts. It's like just playing the same thing.
Over and over and over again.
That's why I look at it like eventually, and I do love that movie, The Matrix. Eventually, we got to wake up. You're gonna be forced to wake up.
So even at that, right? Out of the people that were in the Matrix that fought to get out, was it everybody? Or was it just a few people?
Just a few.
Okay.
But that's all you needed was a few.
Yeah, well, yeah. And if everybody else want to stay stuck, it is what it is.
Where we at now.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
We had the decision like either you gonna roll with this or you gonna stay this
That's
way.
it. And if you stay that way, then you stay a victim, and for everything is going to be, you're going to be the victim of something that you're the victim of. That's all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is, I'm just good being a victim all the time. Yeah. That's how you want to live. And if that's how you want to live, that's okay. But nobody wants to hear you open your mouth if you're not willing to make the change to become who you're supposed to become. Okay? So if we're clear that people dislike us that much, I'm sorry. I'm good with hanging with you.
Facts.
I'm okay with hanging. I'm okay. I ain't got to hang out with you because, you don't like me. And I'm good with that. But I'm not going to be in my lower spit self.
Right. I'm not going to, like you said, I ain't going to deal with the Lord.
You know, right. That chaos. I'm not trying to be in chaos. Being chaos means when things happen, you have to accept them.
Facts.
You know, when things happen, you have to accept them. And that's it. Oh, it would say they just killed the girl who said, who called Jesus. Okay. They shouldn't have killed her. But then what happened to him? If he brought chaos into her life and she took her life, left her children without a mother, and all of this other stuff, where's the outrage? Nobody said nothing.
Yeah. No, you're right. Until you, because you can force a person to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know I ain't gonna lie and say ain't none gonna die. But yeah, they die too, and they understand. So you gotta have,
Right. So if somebody breaking my house, I'm not calling the police to come and get him. Come pick up what's left.
Yeah.
But prayerfully, hopefully, knowingly, if you come over and your intent is wrong, let us have a dialogue and see how we can change. And I'll be, hey man, you need this, I'll give it to you. But if you come in here the right way, even if you came in the wrong way, what do you need?
Right. Because I seen some with an older guy, a young boys from the break. They had pulled guns on each other. He said, "Man, come on, I'm gonna fix you breakfast."
And the kid cried and they inseparable because people took the opportunity to say, "I see something in you bigger than that." And what the issue is that we have is we don't see, we don't look. And what did Michael Jackson say? We don't look in the mirror, see who we are. Right. We know what we're dealing with. We very clear. We clear what we're dealing with. We're dealing with chaos. Okay, that's like sitting around there. The gator got his mouth open. You go tickle his tongue. What you think he gonna do?
Smash.
He's supposed to,
Facts,
right?
facts.
You go swimming in the ocean, and you know the great whites is out.
Yeah.
Then what they gonna do?
Smash.
They gonna do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Facts.
So what are we mad about? Oh, I got my leg cut off because I was swimming in the Great Barrier Reef with the great white sharks, and I put blood in the water, and oops, and here it come and he get me.
What they call apex predators.
They apex predators. And so therefore, if that's the case, and you know you're dealing with them.
Facts. Yeah, like you can't domesticate everybody. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah, we want to be like them so bad.
Yeah.
But you're greater than that. You're bigger than that. You're the first people from God.
Yeah.
So therefore, why would you be a third or fourth or fifth or whoever down the road person? You got 3.8 million years of mitochondrial DNA.
Facts.
And you talking about 2 weeks. You want to act like somebody been only here 40,000 years as compared to millions of years. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't. No. But this is the isfet that we the chaos that we're in. You know, I can't keep my head straight because I'm more interested in being this because they make this thing look good. It doesn't. It's not us. We build it as the pyramids.
Oh, you know you're gonna get some flack for that.
I don't care nothing about that,
so
please.
People we want to take that they, others want to say they built the pyramids, but if you
there's nobody
built them now.
No, listen, there's black people. We just showed pictures of all these black people, and and this is a partial presentation. This only 30 slides, not the 300 that I had to put up there, and I didn't even go into other civilizations that sprung from there. Right? I didn't go to East Coast. I didn't go to West Coast yet. That's all African people.
That's why I don't be really paying attention now what they fighting over, because a lot of them is at the invasions, like you said, the golden age when it was over with.
Man, you're not walking into Kemet when Kemet is on top and being that dog ruling the world. What did I say before? Thutmose III was dead for 200 years. And China was still sending tribute until they found out through somebody who was a spy that he was no longer alive. And that's the only time. 200 years. Right. That's 3 generations of his children. Right. That they didn't even know that he was gone.
But they're not gonna tell you that even when you go look over China, who was the first inhabitants?
Man, they in the mountains, they African. They black. Same way with Japan. Same way in Malaysia. Same way in all of those countries over there.
And you see, in all them countries, you're going to see the dynamic of the lighter versus the
absolutely. Because, that white is right and black and don't get back and all that other.
Brown stay
Yeah. Yellow was a good fellow. All of that insanity, right? Yeah. That's all it is. They constantly have been perpetrating themselves to be something that they're not, and we're following it.
We get to move by them, and they only, if you notice, they're only gonna let a handful of them.
Yeah, they're not gonna let her. They don't know.
No, they're not gonna. They're gonna keep their number. They're only gonna let a handful of you move out there in them areas.
And they're gonna tell you how you're gonna live.
Oh, most definitely.
They're gonna tell you. Just like when we see the stupidity where young people or whoever just throw trash on the street, do that out in Grand Blanc, Swartz Creek, Flushing, any place, Fenton, Davidson, any of that. You ain't gonna do that. I'm sorry. You're gonna pick that up and put it in the trash because I caught you doing that.
And you're gonna
stop and you're gonna pick it up.
Facts.
And you're gonna get it. Here's a broom, young fella, young lady. Sweep that up. Meanwhile, here, because of the level of disrespect that we have towards each other, and lack of love and godliness that we have towards each other, that's God is love. And sometimes love is hard.
Oh, facts.
Okay. Sometimes love is hard. Love is not always soft and sweet and bunny rabbits. Because even bunny rabbits bite.
Like they say, even pressure busts pipe.
Yeah, see?
Eventually, keep putting pressure.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, I guess we at the end, brother.
We at the end, big bro. Yeah. I appreciate it.
For sure.
Mr. Sims, we got you. We appreciate you.
For facts. Anything you want to end it out with, brother?
Well, Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. Hey, we even got a chance to run over a little bit. That's what's up. Please, really seriously do your studies. Really seriously look into what you think you believe and see where it truly comes from. Because it comes from a deeper source than what we know. And it's okay to talk to mom and get wisdom from mother, but go talk to her mother and her mother's mother and her mother's mother and get their wisdom as well. And then it'll make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to start seeing that God is in ourselves so that we can connect to the God outside, because it's not one and the same, it's different. But anyway, y'all got a couple pieces of homework. Find it out for me and see what we can find. I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, peace. Thank you, sir.
No.